Hi, this is Scott with eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at and installing our CURT Underbed OEM-Style Gooseneck Hitch for 2024 Ford F-250. So after getting this installed, one of the things I really like about this one is how clean the look is. It's going to allow you to still use your truck like a truck. It's going to have pretty much a flat bed, so you can put 2x4s or wood in here, whatever you want to haul. You could even haul stuff like mulch if you want to. All you have to do is pop in your little rubber plug and you're good to go. It's going to keep everything in your bed. When you're ready to tow, all you have to do is take your ball and just pop it in place, and all you have to do is turn the little latch like that. It's locked in place and it's good to go. So now when you put your coupler down on top, there's no way for that to come unlatched until you actually take your coupler off. Another nice thing about it too is how low the safety chain loops ride. These are going to stick down really low in here, and when you pull these up, they're readily accessible. When you don't need them, they're going to be spring loaded and pop right back down into place. This is what it's going to look like underneath. It's going to be a pretty heavy duty setup. The ball that comes with it is going to be 2 5/16, and that's going to be capable of 30,000 pounds. And for a vertical load, that's going to be 9,500 pounds for the weight pushing down on the ball itself. And for the hitch, which is just this portion under here, that is going to be rated for 38,000 pounds. Now, with the ball rated at 30,000, we recommend just staying with that. But if with a different ball, this is rated at 38,000 pounds by itself. So if you end up getting this setup installed and you have any questions or any comments about it, feel free to leave any questions or comments below. Installation for this one is pretty tricky. It's a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of moving things around just to get things lined up. So it's something you don't have time to do yourself. If you really don't want to do it yourself at all, you can take a look at our dealer locator and have something set up to get it done for you locally. If it's something you want to tackle yourself, stick around, watch our video, and we'll help you get it installed. To start our installation, what I really like to do is get all my parts put on the sides where they're going to go. I like to pay close attention to the instructions and just looking at things like which holes go forward. I always check those, and you make sure when you look at your instructions that you're looking at the correct side on the instructions. So that way, after you have everything sorted, you are going to have a standout part that has the hole in it. Make sure you have it on the coordinating side where it's supposed to go. And when that's all done, what we do is we're just going to take one of our side plates. We'll take our side plate and we'll have our long bolts in our hardware, and we're going to get a washer on the one end. Now we just want to get our bolts in place. Hold that plate up for us. Now we'll come back underneath with our inner plate and get that loosely put in place. Now underneath on this side where our plate is going to go, we have a wiring harness in the way, so I'm just going to take my clip tool and just pop those out of the way. That way I have room to mount my plate. Now we'll just get our other plate put back up in place. I want to keep my wire on the outside of this out of the way. And just get that up through and over our bolts that we ran through. Now we could take our provided flange nuts and just get those threaded on loosely, just to hold them in place for now. Just run those down as finger tight as far as you can. Now, going through and getting everything set up for install, what we did is this one being the hole with our clearance for our shock mount. What we did is on all of the other plates, we went back through and took our carriage bolts, and in our kit, you're going to have these little clips. Now what you do is you just push your carriage bolt all the way down and clip these clips on. These are going to keep these in place so they don't go falling out. Because once we get this up onto the body, you're not going to be able to access that. So all we're doing now is we have our hardware all set up. We have our regular bolts with a conical washer. We want the teeth facing our spacer block, and we have that on all of them that we're going to be installing. All we're going to do is take our part and slide it up over the frame onto our brackets that we have already installed. So we're just going to slide up onto those and then loosely bolt our hardware into place. Just want to line up our hardware and get that started in place. And that's the same for all of the bolts. You may have to move your bracket around a little bit, both of them, because they're all set loosely in place for now. So you may have to wiggle that around to get that started. Now that we're getting ready to set our center section in place, we're going to go over a couple things. We have our bracket over here that has the reinforcement on it. That one is notched and clearanced for our gas tank, so we have that one in the correct spot. And another one you want to make sure you have in the correct spot is the one that is set up for clearance with the shock mount. So those two are very important. Now we have this one loose, unbolted. It's going to be just kind of floating in there until we get our center section in place. Other than that, for our hardware, once we get it up in place, we need to make sure that our carriage bolts stay where they're at. And when we get it up there, our hardware is going to pop in like this. We're going to run a nut on the back of them, on 4 of them. Then we'll come back through and put the rest of our hardware in place. Now for our center section, before we get it put in place, we want to make sure we have our center locator put on. We want to also make sure this doesn't move around anywhere and come off as we're putting it in place, so we need to be careful of that. Orientation of this is going to be, for this one, is going to be chain loops in the rear. So this is going to be our slots for our chain loops. So this is the way we're going to be putting it up into our vehicle. Another little tip is to tape this in place so that way you don't have as much worry about it popping off. Because once you get this up there, you do not want to have to take this back down to put this little plastic piece back on. So just some clear tape, hold it down, and then you're good to go. Now we'll go ahead and lift it in place. Just going to go up over the rear differential. And this part is really heavy, so an extra set of hands would be really helpful. Now we have the center section kind of in place, and we have most of our main hardware up here in place. So now it's just a thing of getting everything wiggled into place. You will have to move it around quite a bit and probably push up to get our bolts through. So that's what we're working with right now. Now we have all of our carriage bolts popped in place here for our center section. Now I'm just going to come back through and kind of make sure I have it where I want it and snug everything down. Now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the center and work my way out and just get everything snugged down, and then we'll come back through and torque everything down to spec. Now we'll come back through and torque down our hardware to the specifications listed in our instruction manual. Since we're under here, we're going to go ahead and run pilot holes in for our safety chain loop holes. So we just want to center up in that the best we can, keep our drill perpendicular, and drill our hole. Now we'll get our hole saw. We have a 3 1/4 inch hole saw, and we're just going to go ahead and go by our hole that we have through. Now line up our bit perfect with that, and just nice and easy start down it. Now this part I'm taking my time. We don't want to go too far and get into our hitch. So I'm just taking my time and going around, and you can see our plastic is starting to come out. That just shows that we're coming down and starting to hit our template underneath. with the hole drilled, we can pull out all of our tape and our template. Now for our safety chain loops, we're going to come back through with the correct size for it and get all those drilled out. Now we can use our pilot holes to come back through and widen these so we get them wide enough to get our loops in place. Now since this has 2 layers down in there, you may need to take a bit from up above and kind of go around with it to widen it out enough to get your loop to go through. But once you get that, you should be good to go. Like this one drops right in place. Now we'll come back through after we've got all of our chips cleaned up. We'll come back through with a white paint pen and I'll clean up all these edges so it prevents corrosion. After our paint's all dry, now we can install our safety chain loops. Now we can go underneath and get our springs installed. Now we can install our springs. What we're going to do is take a flat washer, run that on, followed by our spring, then another flat washer, and our nut. And what we're going to do with the nut is we're going to run that up till it's flush with the edge of the nut and the edge of our bolt. Now we're going to do that with all of those. Now this is what you want them to look like, nice and flush, and you want them to operate nice and smooth, up and down without any binding, and that's how those should look. That was a look at our CURT Gooseneck Hitch for 2024 Ford F-250. I'm Scott with eTrailer, and thanks for watching.